my friend was like, so how are you applying for jobs then and stuff? And I was like, well, I'm really not. Because I was like, LinkedIn is a scam. And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. But then, like, so how are you going to find jobs? And I was like, I'm really not, like, looking, I guess. And then I was, like, thinking about it. And I was like, LinkedIn has a fucking chokehold on, like, there's not, it's kind of a monopoly.
Well, there's, like...
It's kind of, like...
There's, like, Indeed and ZipRecruiter, but, like, they're not...
But they're not the same.
No,
it's not like a networking platform.
No, they just want your
information.
information, and then they want to send you a bunch of, like, shitty emails.
Right. And that too, I feel like is more just they're plugging in your information and like spitting out like jobs that may match your like information. It's not like a networking, like LinkedIn has like the fucking social media component to it too. And like I don't know.
Hate it. I hate it so much.
I get it.
Wait, should we do our intro? Wait, did we start?
Let's do our intro.
Welcome to Linked Out. Welcome to Linked Out, the podcast that won't help you get a job, but will make you feel better about not having one.
Welcome to another episode of Linked Out, the podcast that makes you feel like less of a loser because you don't have a job.
Because everyone doesn't have a job, because it's really hard out there.
Nobody has a job.
Nobody has a job, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You're qualified. You're good enough. And we're talking to you and also ourselves.
Jobs are a scam.
Jobs are a scam. LinkedIn is a scam.
That part is true.
That part is true. We're going to talk about it later. I'm Brit, and
I'm Sydney.
And we are both unemployed, but we're awesome. And we're going to talk about it.
We're linked out.
We're linked out.
We're linked out and loving it.
Hey, Sydney, if your week was a rejection email, what would the subject line be? My week could be, my last week could be called moving forward with other candidates because I'm trying to look for other options that are not outside of the realm of the job that I'm looking for now because I'm at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
And also I got a lot of emails that said that last week. We're moving forward with other applicants, candidates. Both. I've gotten both.
The company is on a hiring freeze.
That's nice. The company's on a hiring freeze because you're on a hiring freeze. Because
it's freezing outside.
It's really cold.
That's the freeze.
Atlanta is cold. I thought it was the only thing I knew about, side note, about Atlanta when I moved here was you're not supposed to call it Hotlanta. And that was the only thing I knew about this place.
That's pretty much the only thing anyone knows about
it. But I did.
And also people often say like, oh, and there's a lot of strip clubs too.
There's a lot of strip clubs. I did think it was going to be hot when I moved here from New York. And I just like didn't bring any coats, and I moved here in October, and I just brought like a suitcase full of sundresses, and I was like, see you later, pants. And then I got here in October and it was freezing. And
that was short-sighted.
I was like, damn. I was like, why didn't anybody tell me that Atlanta has weather?
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be hot all the time.
Bummer. It's not Miami.
It's not.
It's not quite.
I really thought it was.
I wish. Miami is cool. Atlanta's fine. It does not have the cool factor.
There's too many hot people in Miami, and there's too much cocaine, and I don't belong there.
That's true. It's a big thing there.
I went on a boat there when I was like 22, and it was a bachelorette party, and they rented a yacht, and I didn't have enough money to rent this yacht, but they were all rich, and I had to go on this yacht.
Did you have to pay the same amount?
Well, no, because like
you got out of it.
Paid.
You were like, yeah,
because
don't make me pay.
Two of the people in the wedding party, their husbands, they were already married, and they were rich, so like they paid for it, but they made me pay for a bunch of other stuff I couldn't afford.
Bachelorette parties are also a scam, a different kind of scam.
Hey, that's a hard pass for me on bachelorette
I
parties.
feel like we could make a Venn diagram of like bachelorette parties on LinkedIn and then see like what the overlap is.
There's both. Someone named Becky is always going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. LinkedIn, somebody named Becky is always there and doing better than you.
Was anybody like, no, because this was probably before people were like, the worst thing is when you're like on a vacation and somebody is like, oh, I have to like take this call or I have to like do this meeting like on vacation, like on a trip like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's always like, you're not that important.
Yeah, you don't
know
have
what I
to
mean?
take the call.
You're like, nobody fucking cares. You can be on vacation. This fucking company does not rely on you. I swear
Sorry,
to God.
Jennifer,
I know it
there's
doesn't. I know it doesn't.
Sorry, Jennifer. The PR company that you are an assistant for is not going to burn
Live
down.
and die by you being out of the office for
Oh my
3
God.
days.
Like,
but that's like a thing. People are like, they
I had a
feel
roommate
like more
like
important if they,
Nicole, she did work for a PR company, and she would always come home and I'd be like, how was your day? And she'd be like, just putting out fires. And I'm like, and then like she would like,
Nicole, please.
I'm like, you're an assistant at a PR company.
firm. Well, depending on who their clients were, I guess maybe she was putting out some
fires. And then she would like take a day off. She's like, I'm amazed the place didn't burn down. I'm like,
enough.
It's not gonna burn down. You're not tree Paine. Like, I don't think. Shout out Tree Paine. I'm obsessed with her career. Anyway, moving on.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, she's like #1 publicist.
Oh, okay.
She's like everybody cool.
Her name is Tree Paine.
Tree Paine, yeah.
That's a cool name.
It's like Teresa
something,
but she has a Tree Paine.
Love that.
You don't know who Tree Paine is? That's
no,
crazy.
I don't.
Oh my
sorry.
God.
I don't know who Tree Paine is. Well, I'm gonna find out.
That's a whole other podcast. Yeah. I'm obsessed with her.
Okay, we'll do a deep dive on her.
We'll
career.
do a deep dive. She's got a great job. She just hangs out with Taylor Swift and makes sure nothing bad happens to her image. Piece of cake. Piece of cake, Tree Paine. Anyway, so today we want to talk about, I guess today we would like to talk about odd jobs and how LinkedIn is a scam, which will be coming up in other episodes. We're going to talk about the ways so far that we have been scammed on LinkedIn and all of the like proof and evidence that we have that really add up to the fact that LinkedIn does not help you get jobs, but they cornered the market somehow in the industry and everybody fucking thinks that they do, but they don't.
And it's also like if you're in a situation kind of like you or I or anybody who's like primary focus is not only trying to find a job, but also like I feel like for like freelancers now, I feel like that's like the go-to. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've opened LinkedIn. And also recently, I haven't been on it as much because of, I figured out that now I finally understand what you mean when you said it was a scam. But it, like, used to be every time I opened it.
Didn't believe me. Sydney did not believe me.
No, the first time you said that,
she was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. And, like, cell phone towers. I don't know. I just was like, you were, I was like, yeah. I was like, what's she talking about? But it's true. But every time you open it too, people are like making like a case for themselves. They're like, "Hey, me and so just wrapped up this project, and now we're available." Like, and it's like every other post, and it just feels like I don't know. It just feels like a weird like platform for like advertising yourself mostly, which is like so cringe.
It really is, and also it's like. You can't even
cringed in.
You can't like be yourself on LinkedIn because it's like you
have like an image
your client facing.
Yeah. Your client facing self, which is fake.
Which is fake as fuck. Like you don't want
you're like trying to like write witty copy about yourself to like
it makes me want to die.
Same.
And I don't do posts on LinkedIn for that very reason because I'm like, oh, like I'm on, I go on Twitter and like write a bunch of like stupid shit. Like I'll just like tweet some funny thing that I thought of. But like if I go on LinkedIn, Like, it's like you have to dissect the thing that you're, because like if you say like,
It might come back.
hey, yeah, it's gonna come back. Like they're gonna say like this is, I don't know. You're gonna accidentally say something offensive, like this offends the Coca-Cola Corporation, and now you'll never get a job there for some reason.
Yeah.
You're like, I just posted and said I wrapped up a project with Pepsi. Now I can't get a job at Coke. I don't know.
100%.
It's just like it's uncomfortable, and just like the people that are way too involved on LinkedIn, like
It's too much peacocking.
it's too much peacocking, and I don't actually like I don't see these people that are making grand declarations on LinkedIn. Like I don't see them getting extra work because of it. I think that like they're people that already have jobs and are like, "Hey, look at this fucking thing I did," so that people can give them shitty fake accolades on this shitty fake platform where they're like, "Oh my gosh, Jeff, your fucking Super Bowl campaign was so good." And like they're just everybody just writes the automated responses under it. It's fucking wild. I just don't I fucking hate it. It's wild.
I agree.
But I don't know. But then I'm like, again, like, is this a thing that will help people get jobs? Is just posting like your mood on LinkedIn? Because I don't think that it is. If it was, maybe I would do
have
it.
this one person I know that I've actually worked with before, and I overlapped with her at a company, and then she kind of left. She left the company before I did, and then I just stayed connected with her on LinkedIn. And she posted something recently. She's kind of an interesting case because she has basically become like a LinkedIn influencer, or like at least like a content creator on LinkedIn, where she has been getting paid. She's making money off of her like LinkedIn content.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know. So she's kind of an interesting case.
We found somebody that got a job on LinkedIn, and they got a job at LinkedIn.
Yeah, kind
But
of.
how did they
She
find
works
the
for
job?
herself. I mean, she's not work for LinkedIn. She's still like a content creator.
She just gets paid.
But she gets paid for her like content that she makes. Not unlike how people get paid for Instagram posts.
Right. Wait,
It's
does
like,
she get paid like on her, like from her social media for making a LinkedIn thing, or does she get paid on LinkedIn for doing a post on the platform?
I think the latter.
Okay.
And I think she also does like brand like promotions for other brands on LinkedIn.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a hack.
I know. It kind of is. Like, I think she started off as like just like being like kind of like quirky and like you know, a different type of voice on LinkedIn than what you normally see, and then she like monetized it basically.
Damn.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have her talk sometime because she's super smart and cool, but you know, the more you know.
The more you know.
You could be making SpawnCon
Literally
on LinkedIn.
Dozens of dollars.
Dozens. No, but she said she posted this like this week. She said she's made this year, she's made $27,000 on LinkedIn stuff, content.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's not her only like source of income. So she's like,
yeah, that's good.
It's a pretty legit side hustle. If this podcast makes me fucking $100, I'll consider that a legitimate side hustle. You know?
If this podcast makes $12,
even just like, yeah, any money at all.
any money
I
at
would
all.
say
If like 50 people listen to this podcast,
we might make $12.
we might. I don't know how it works. I don't know how any of it works. That's not my job, but I'll figure it out. We'll both figure it out.
Let's talk about your odd jobs.
Okay.
Brittany's got some really good odd jobs, and I kind of feel like you shouldn't go first because mine are so not interesting in comparison. But
okay, go. You can go first.
Well, are we going all the way back to the beginning? Like, how far back are we going?
So, I've been a dishwasher, a bartender, a waitress,
who amongst us hasn't?
Right. Like those are the easy ones. A nanny. I'm sure those are an assistant. What what else did I do? See, now I wrote them some. Oh yeah, I did. I wrote them in here. Dishwasher, nanny, art teacher, secretary, personal assistant, design assistant, production assistant, buyer for a vintage clothing store, wardrobe stylist, costume designer, cater waiter, dog walker, copywriter, and I'll save the most interesting job for last, and we'll move over to Sydney if you want to like list your jobs and then do your most interesting job last.
Well, okay. Well, I don't like. I don't know if I have the most interesting one, but I've also done the service
circuit.
industry. Yeah, the service circuit. In a past life, and then I was thinking about this today because it's sort of off topic, but we'll come back to it. I had a job interview today in this neighborhood that I sort of used to live in, or like where I kind of grew up, and there was a place over there that was a children's store. This was a long time ago, like a really long time ago, but I worked at this children's store.
Pre-motherhood?
Yeah, I worked at this children's store as a like princess for birthday parties. So I would be like different, like Cinderella, like the Little Mermaid, and
oh, that's cool.
I dressed up like for little girls' birthday parties, and yeah, and I had to do like face painting and stuff, which was a stretch. All of it was a stretch, but
yeah, that's fun.
That was kind of a fun job. But then, yeah, I also worked at Ace Hardware. I worked at Zaxby's. These are all like a really long time ago, like when I was like an adolescent. But
Okay.
then, yeah, so I did the service stuff, and then I had a job. I was telling you about this last week when we were thinking about these. Like, I worked for this like visual artist who was like, I think he was Russian. Gonna have to fact check myself on exactly where he's from, but he's like severely like dyslexic. So I worked for him reading and writing his emails for him for like a couple of hours at a time. But like he always had so many emails and stuff to respond to, like about like
I would pay you to do that job.
He paid me. He paid me pretty well at the time, but I told you this. He had the most horrible breath. And he would be like right next to me, like reading and writing these emails, like saying what he wanted me to say in his like thick accent.
Oh
like,
my God.
And with just like horrible breath. So I like couldn't do the job for very long because I was like, this is fucking gross.
You're like, I can't.
I really can't help you. You got to find somebody else. But that was weird and unique job.
Yeah, that really is. Like,
yeah.
Which, by the way, that sounds like that sounds like a level of success that I don't know about. Is like, I don't want.
He wasn't like, but no, it wasn't like that. It was like because he couldn't.
Oh, right.
His like apartment where I went. This was like in New York. So in his apartment, it was like a hoarder inside of his apartment. Like I wouldn't say he was like. I wouldn't say he wasn't like the picture of success. Do you know what I mean? Like he was like a crazy person
but like he
that
had
needed somebody to read
email.
And write his emails because he couldn't do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was more like that situation. But yeah. And then after that, I'm trying to think of like what other like overlapping with or at least before, maybe even after copywriting jobs I had. Oh yeah, when I quit my job, I worked at a like boutique for a little while.
Oh yeah, I think you
that
told
was
me that.
My first sort of, well, it wasn't my first retail experience. It was actually like my second. My first retail experience was horrific. The woman who like owned the store always accused my boyfriend of stealing from the store, which he like never did. He would just like come in sometimes while I was working, like bring me lunch or something like that. And she, as soon as he would leave, she'd be like, he's not allowed to come here because he steals. And I was like, he doesn't steal. He's not stealing from the store. Like that's insane. So yeah. So that was a bad experience. But then, yeah, the most recent place I worked was great. It was not a bad experience at all. It was just like, retail is a grind. Shout out to the retail workers because that's a grind. Every day is kind of the same. I mean, I don't know. It's a little Groundhog's Day for me, but not that like what we do is like so vastly exciting and interesting every day. But I will say like every day does feel like at least somewhat different. Like when you go, you're like, I don't know. It's not the same every day.
Yeah.
It's just not. It can't be. You can't be doing the same thing every single day. But if you work in like retail and stuff, yeah, like you're doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, I mean, I worked at Beacon's Closet in New York, vintage clothing store, and it was kind of the same thing, but it was different because you had like stylists coming in and like selling like incredible clothes, and
I
you
bet
could just like get
it
first
wasn't just
dibs
like
on,
people trying to like clean out their closets.
right,
It was like
and
actually
it was like such good stuff, and like everybody gets 65% off. Like
that's a good
the
discount.
employees, yeah, because like I mean that's how we would that's
Spend
what
your
we'd pay
entire
out.
paycheck.
Yeah, you just spend your paycheck. That's what
You're
we'd
working
pay
for
out
free.
people, like they get 35% or 50% in store credit.
Yeah.
And then we would be able to just buy it for 35%. So it was like you just get all this cool stuff, but it was like a big warehouse. Like, so like there was when you weren't like buying, when you weren't like in the buying room, like you had to do like the other stuff, like, you know, count people into a dressing room and like organize the racks by color. And it was like a real nightmare. But there was like a bunch of, but it was like, it was fun working there. There was
you probably liked your like coworkers and stuff. I would
Yeah.
say that was probably the best part about like my retail job too, was like just talking and like getting to know my coworkers. Like they were
Yeah.
interesting, cool people.
It was fun. Like everybody was like in a band, and everybody, you know, I'm like, you're like 23 years old or something. And you're like, you can stay out all night and then wake up and go to work the next day and not
it's
feel
totally
a damn
fine.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, retail is, I mean, people that like do retail for long periods of time is, I don't know how they do it, because
I don't either.
I don't know.
Like I said, shout out to those people, because like that they're stronger than I am for sure.
Yeah, sales associates. It's like, oh my God, like you guys are, I don't know. Like I just feel like you would go crazy doing that for more than like 4 years or something.
Even that is such a long time. Like I lasted
time.
like 4 months.
4 months. I think I worked there for like, I worked at Beacon's Closet for like 3 years or something. That was like, but that was a different type of retail. It was like, you know, I don't know. It was, I didn't find it as monotonous. Sometimes I would, but
yeah, that's different. I feel like it is by virtue of being like vintage or like thrift and stuff. It's like more interesting than just like unpacking like boxes of new clothes.
Totally. And like dealing with like, cause like Beacon's Closet had this particular vintage store like didn't really have a customer's always right motto. So
Customer's always wrong.
Customer's always wrong, because there's like a lot of crazies that would come in there, and like I see these like retail chains where like, you know, like an Anthropologie or something, where like you have to go by a corporate employee handbook, and that is something that seems, you know, the customer's always right thing in that like situation seems really difficult to keep your cool.
By the way, I was shocked just thinking about like corporate retail environments. I haven't been in one in a while, and today I happened to be close to a Banana Republic.
Oh my gosh.
And I haven't been into a Banana Republic in a really long time.
I can't even remember when I
I thought that Banana Republic was like affordable. I was so wrong. It's not affordable. It's expensive.
What, like how much is a
like
dress?
$500 jackets and stuff. And yeah, like I was expecting like $40 or something. I was like, what the fuck? Banana Republic is expensive as shit.
I think they were kind of expensive, but like their dresses were like $125 or something.
I didn't look at any dresses per se. I was looking at the jackets because I was like vaguely thinking of like maybe I want a jacket now that it's cold outside, and I just happened to, and so I was like, what? I like walked around and I was like, I need to pretend to be on the phone so I can get out of here. It was like I got because the people kept circling around being like, let us know if you need any help.
The old pretend to be on a phone here.
And I was like, yeah, I'm just super busy.
Cashmere flare sleeve sweater, $280.
See, it's not cheap. I thought Banana Republic was not cheap. I just thought it was more.
$280 skirt.
I thought it was more the every man or every woman type of store, and I feel it's not.
Scoop neck
Has
dress,
it always been so
180.
expensive, or did it get more expensive?
I think it's more expensive.
I think so
now.
too, just like everything, I guess. But
Leather mini skirt.
how much is that leather mini skirt?
$350.
See, that's not like $350
I mean, if
for a fucking mini skirt.
But if it's real leather,
it's probably not.
Probably not.
I looked at a jacket that was like leather, and I was like, this doesn't feel like real leather, and it was $500.
I bet it's like leather upper.
It felt like
something.
it was like.
Let's see about this
leather.
bomber jacket.
Vegan leather, what they call vegan leather.
Yeah, vegan leather, which is for
Plastic.
sure polyester.
Plastic.
Really, really $600 leather bomber jacket, and I I can't see, but I don't think it's leather.
Anyway, I was shocked. Don't believe I'll be shopping at the Banana Republic anytime soon.
Unless you want to sponsor us, hey.
Yeah, unless you can give us like a discount code or something.
Get your perfect interview outfit at Banana Republic. You don't have a job.
That is the vibe of it, though. It is like workwear.
Oh my God. I want to do so funny. I think maybe next time we should talk about the like different like retail companies do like workwear or like interview looks that are so trashy that you would never wear to an interview. Like there's like I saw like a bunch of TikToks on it like a couple weeks ago where they were like, oh, this perfect. I think for the I saw office.
Something too. Someone was like looking at like they get like the Revolve emails or something, and they were like, yeah, these are like, and then they started. It was like ball gowns. It was like not. It was like no what
and crop
to
tops.
What job?
Yeah, what job are you wearing? A like fishnet crop top
and like
with like a blazer
shorts.
Over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you think the blazer makes it biz cash?
Makes that profesh. Anything, just throw a blazer on it.
Like, where do you work? Like, are you working in a corporate environment, like, and wearing a crop top? Like, that's insane. That is insane. Anyway, that's a different.
That is a different thing.
And
if I ever have like a job where I'm like there again, I think I've decided my new approach going forward will be like I just am gonna wear like a work uniform, not like a real. Obviously, like I wouldn't have a work designated uniform. In what I do, but I would like. Create my own and be like, this is what I wear every single day.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to spend all my fucking money on buying stupid clothes for work.
I used to wear it to the office when, before the pandemic, I used to wear like Dickies, like coveralls, like every day, like different colors. Cause like, I just I have trouble like getting out of the house and like figuring out what I would wear in the morning, and I would be late because I couldn't figure it out, and I just was like, I need a
uniform.
Yeah, so I just got every single color of coverall, like Dickies mechanics looking coveralls, and wore them to the office, and nobody cared.
No, because nobody gives a shit what you're wearing.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody thinks
and it made like took a lot of stress off of like my day because I wasn't
unless you
like,
work. I guess
wearing?
maybe if you work in like a fashion place, then maybe people care what you wear, but.
Yeah.
All right, let's get your weird
job.
Well,
so when you were saying that I have another one actually, which is like not weird, but like when you said you worked when you dressed up as a princess, I definitely like blacked this out. I'm sure I've told you this before. Maybe I haven't, I don't know. But when I was like 20 years old, I worked at Disneyland as Snow White.
What?
In Anaheim, California.
What?
And it was like...
I feel like I would remember that.
Okay. Well, I got fired. So surprise, surprise.
I want to know why. I want that whole story.
So basically...
You were like a real character.
I was a real character.
Those jobs are hard to get.
Well, it wasn't. I'll tell you why. So we have... So usually... The characters go through like
and I thought you had good job security.
No, well, I was a scab at Disneyland because the characters they were
on strike.
They were on strike.
No way.
They were.
Okay.
So you have to go to be a Disney character. You have to go through this extensive training process. You have to go through like an acting camp, like whatever. So the characters like went on strike, and then they hired a bunch of people to just like work while they were figuring out their union. And I was 20 years old.
The Wish version.
I was like 19, maybe 19 or 20. But and so I was like, it was like $22 an hour, and I'm like 19, 20 years old. So I'm like, this is so much money.
Yeah.
And so I did it. So I crossed the picket line for $20 an hour, $22 an hour.
You were 19.
And
You were
so
19. Come on. You didn't have any principles.
I didn't.
Of
I
course.
didn't even know
Why
what
would
was
you?
going on. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. And then
You were like, what? Health? Insurance?
No.
Yeah, benefits? Who cares?
no benefits.
Just pay me.
There was no benefits.
$22 an hour. That's fine.
There was absolutely no benefits. I think that's probably why they were striking too. But so I worked there for like I think it wasn't very long. It was like 2 months or 2 or 3 months. And so everybody that was scabbing at Disneyland would smoke cigarettes behind Toontown on their break.
Toontown.
And so I was on break, and I was still in my costume, which people would smoke in their costumes all the time. It was not a big deal. If you're like
a little ciggy smelling.
if you're no, you have to like, you got to like brush it off. You have to like, you wear a glove. It's like whatever. But like you wear rubber gloves so that your hands don't smell. But the mascot looking characters had to like get out of their costumes. But like I really didn't, as long as I wore the glove and like kind of made sure it didn't go like, made sure I didn't stink like cigarettes when I went back out. And honestly, maybe I did. I tried not to, but like nobody ever said anything to me. But
what? No 6-year-olds ever said anything.
no 6-year-olds were like, nobody's parents. But so I was smoking behind Toontown on my cigarette break. And some kid goes AWOL and just like runs back there and
into the restricted
employees
area
section and screams, "Snow White's smoking cigarettes!"
Oh my
and he just starts
God.
screaming, and his mom comes in, grabs him, and she fucking makes the biggest fucking scene about it.
God.
And
The worst
she was
people.
like, he was like, "I can't believe Snow White smokes cigarettes. This is so," like, he was just freaking out. And the mom was like, "I can't believe it." I was like, "You're not supposed to be back here, little boy."
You're like, listen, I need this.
And then the manager fired me. And he was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "They were not even supposed to be back here."
And
he
also,
was
they're
like,
not going to come back. Like, did they really need to fire you? Like that? Those people aren't going to come back.
I was a scab. They didn't care about
yeah,
me.
they
But
just found another.
They just found another fair-skinned, dark-haired.
Wow.
I didn't have to wear a wig.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, you could wear a wig, but I just like curled my hair and it was fine. Put a little net on it. Anyway. I do have pictures of me being Snow White.
We're going to need those.
Yeah, we'll get them.
Those will go up when the episode goes up. I did wear, when I had to do the costume, so I was approximately around the same age. I had to wear the wigs, even when I was a character that had blonde hair, like I still had to wear the big ass heavy wigs because that was like what the woman who owned the store wanted. She wanted like.
I feel like you should. I mean, they were just. I think we were kind of supposed to. I just was a scab and I didn't follow all the directions.
You're like, I'm doing my best.
It was hot out there. It was like Anaheim.
I bet.
And they were itchy. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I was like, I'll just curl my hair. Nobody said anything to me about it. So that
we
was
both need to dig up some pics from the. I can't believe we both were Disney princesses. So what a strange coincidence.
You still look like Sleeping Beauty. I don't look like Snow White anymore, but I used to.
Sleeping Beauty is one I never got to do. That when kids never wanted Sleeping Beauty at their birthday party. This was before that, but that would have been huge. Yeah, that would have been huge for sure.
But yeah, that's an odd job. So I scabbed at Disneyland. But I want to make it very clear I am pro-union and I would never cross a picket line ever again. Just for the fucking record. That was bad.
Let the record show.
Although
she's not a scab anymore.
I am pretty desperate for a job.
I know. At this point, maybe you would. If the Disney World in Anaheim came knocking.
They're like, They're like, after 20 years, we want you back.
We'll never forget.
They're like, you're the best goddamn Snow White we ever had. Grab your camels and get over here.
Did you do a princess voice?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I feel like I was
a
just
raspy,
more
crisp
right.
princess voice.
I was just like, oh, hello. You know, you just do like
more animated
whatever.
version. Yeah.
Of your own voice. I didn't
have
really
like a voice.
up.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I mean, I can't. My voice is I'm down
even.
here and I can't go up there. So, you know, if they wanted to, you know, I'm sure a lot of those Snow Whites that were picketing had
Snow White has like a
voice.
Very high voice, even for the princesses.
They all do, right?
Yeah, but I feel like Snow White, especially because she would like sing to like the animals and stuff. Like she was like, it was like very high. I'm not going to try to do it either because I'll break the microphone.
Is she like living with all those creepy men?
Yeah, the dwarves.
Yeah,
the dwarves. The Snow White and the seven or eight. Seven. Yeah,
7 dwarves. It's like, why do you guys 7 people in a tiny cottage? That sounds terrible.
Yeah,
8 people, I guess, with her.
Any amount of dwarves in a cottage sounds terrible to me.
Okay. Well, I do have other odd jobs.
I want to hear about him.
Okay, so I did clean apartments in my underwear for a short time with my dominatrix friend. And I made a lot of money doing that.
This reminds me of that one episode of Broad City.
Yes.
Where they're cleaning Fred Armisen's apartment.
And
he's in no diaper.
There was never anyone in a diaper.
Did they just watch you clean their apartments?
Sometimes they
How
would
seriously were you cleaning? Did you have like a feather duster, or were you like getting after it with like the Fabuloso and stuff? Like how serious was the cleaning?
So sometimes it would be very unserious and we would just be like dusting. And then like some people really
like had a toothbrush and scrubbing the grout.
Like to scrub the toilet. And I was like, damn. I'm wearing heels. Like, what do you like?
Damn, that's crazy, Brittany.
Yeah, it was.
How long do you think you were doing that job for?
Oh man, I only did it like 5 times.
Okay.
So I wasn't like.
It wasn't
like
a long.
It was
term.
it was like once in a while. So I had a friend in New York that was a dominatrix, and she told me one time, she was like, yeah, sometimes like dudes want, and I was like, I don't know. Cause I was like hard up for cash, surprise, surprise. It would be like rent would be due. And I would always be like, hey, like, do you think,
how much did you get paid?
So
when you would do it,
I made like $1,200 like each time. Like it was like,
that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For like what? For like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
2 hours.
Jesus.
Yeah, like an hour and a half.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Like,
is that job still out there? Do you think?
Probably.
Cleaning.
I mean, maybe not. Like, I feel like
what do we call that? Fetish cleaning.
Fetish cleaning. I don't know. Like, I feel like people. I feel like that job maybe died with the internet. You know, like I feel like now you can like go on like OnlyFans and like pay somebody to like do your kink or whatever.
Yeah.
But
they're not going to come to your apartment.
They're not going to come to your house. No. But like, I don't know. Maybe
I bet the rates have gone up.
The rates have gone up.
I bet the rates have gone up. I bet you can make like $2,500 now.
Oh my God. That's so much money. I'll do it. Well, nobody wants to see me naked anymore, so.
Not nobody.
Not nobody.
Not nobody.
But you know, I was like young and hot, so it was like whatever.
But you weren't naked either.
No, I was wearing a bra and underwear and sometimes heels. And actually, the first time I wore heels, and then after that, after the one guy actually made us actually clean, I stopped doing that.
You're like, this is not practical.
Like, and I mean, this one guy,
I can clean in my underwear, but heels is where I draw the line.
This one guy, like, maybe I did it more than more than 5 times. It was like for 5 different people. And then like this, because this one guy asked us to come back like a couple of like he was like a regular, and I think we cleaned his apartment maybe like it was like once a month for like 4 months or something. But he was like a really nice, like a weird guy. He was a ginger. He was like a little younger. He was like a Wall Street douche, and like not a douche. He was just like
Probably
socially awkward.
Yeah.
And I think he just had trouble like talking to people. And he would just
that
like
doesn't
would,
help.
would have us
by the
come,
way.
yeah, no. But he would just have
Don't
us
tell
come
people
over
about that.
and clean his house, kind of. And like sometimes he would just want to talk to us about video games, and like it would be like
that's kind of
okay.
sad.
Yeah, it was kind of
But
sad.
whatever.
But he was like very nice. And he had a bunch of money. He wasn't even like 30 years old, I think. Maybe he was 30. But like, he was just like, hey girl, like he was really nice. He's like, do you guys want anything to drink?
Oh my God.
He's like, you told me you liked seltzer, so I got some seltzer.
You were like, don't interact with me. Don't interact with me.
My dominatrix friend used to make a lot of money, and she has some fucking crazy stories.
I bet. I
don't want to repeat some of them because
they're hers
some
to
of them
tell.
are vulgar. Some of them are really.
Well, yeah, that comes with the territory, I think.
Should that go on the Patreon?
Yeah,
that'll be. We'll put that behind a paywall because I have like some really gnarly stories, about, just like things that like people would ask her to do and pay her to do, and sometimes she would not do them, and sometimes she would, but. Yeah, maybe that will be what we talk about on one of the Patreons.
There you go.
Paywall. We got something for the paywall. We're going to name names, and we're going to tell you the sick stuff people in New York wanted my dominatrix friend to do.
We need to get her on the pod, maybe.
I wonder if I could find her. I'm not in contact with her anymore. But I bet I could find her on Instagram, maybe.
There's so many different kinds of jobs. Really.
It really is.
There's so many that I haven't even thought of. Like that.
Like that.
Yeah. I remembered another odd job, a couple of odd jobs that I had too that was like kind of the same scenario. Not the same scenario. It wasn't for a dominatrix, but I just was like strapped for cash, and it would be like, I need to figure out like how to make a few $100 extra or something.
Yeah.
And so I forgot that I did this, but I was a PA on commercials for a couple of different commercials. And that was, oh my God, again, another shout out to the people who are PAs. That was that was maybe the worst job I've ever had.
Damn.
Because they treat you like garbage. Hopefully they treat them a little bit better now. But
like think like I've PA'd a couple times too, and the people that you work with think that it's their like foot in the door, and sometimes and they're like, this is my if I work really hard as a PA, like I
can work my way up, yeah.
And it's like
like
it never happens,
right? And they're just PAs forever.
There's PAs forever,
but it's bitch work, really. It
the
really
PA
is
the LinkedIn of the industry, of the entertainment industry.
One time I got so sick eating the craft services. I got like the worst food poisoning I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh my God.
From the craft services. And I wasn't the only one. A lot of people did.
Really? Did you have to like work while you were throwing up?
No, it was like the next day or something. It was like the day after the shoot. And so I was like dead. Oh my God. Dying. And then I was like, I never ever want to do this again I don't care how much money. Because I was like, I'm on my deathbed. That wasn't even really why. Like that was definitely the nail in the coffin. But like before that even, I was like, I fucking hate this. I just was doing it for the money. Because at that time it was like $250 a day or something, which is like now
that's
it's like
more than
nothing.
I made. I made like $125.
Yeah. That to me at the time, like you were saying, was like big money. I was like, oh fuck yeah. Like I can make $500 in 2 days. Like that's great.
Yeah.
And my rent was
money.
like, $700 or something. So I was like, this is great. But yeah, that was a long time ago. And
that was many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
In a different lifetime.
My first ever commercial experience though, that was before I even knew that I had like that I would end up working in advertising. And then, so then when I was on sets, like on the other side of it, I was like, I went so far out of my way to be nice to the PAs. I was like that person that's like, you know, when you go out to eat and they're like, I used to be a waiter or whatever. And like, just go way, way out of their way to like try and be chummy with the people. That was me with the PAs on set.
I remember one time, I had to make a giant hamburger costume for a play that Gilbert Gottfried was narrating, and it had like,
oh my God, why would he be the narrator?
So
can
it
you
was
think
like,
of a more grating voice to be the narrator? That's a choice. Okay, though.
So it was like,
he has one of the worst voices.
I just looked it up because I was like, what was that play called? I just looked it up. And
Yeah, I see
like,
you looking at a picture of Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, 2012. It was in 2012. And I remember like it had a bunch of people from that show, The Biggest Loser, in it, acting in it. And Gilbert Gottfried.
Wasn't that a reality show?
Yeah, about like losing weight. So it was like a play about dieting. It was like a comedy. And they asked me, and I don't even remember how I got this job. It was like a friend of a friend knew I was like trying to do like wardrobe, like costume design, and was like, can you make a giant hamburger costume? And you know how you like always say yes?
Yeah.
And I did not know what I was doing. I've never made a giant hamburger
costume. I imagine that would be challenging.
And they paid me like nothing to do this. Like they paid me like $500 to make this costume, plus like material. I was like, okay, plus materials. I think I spent like $150 on materials. I'm like, do you know how much money it would cost to like make a hamburger? Like, I don't know. Anyway, to get this commissioned, but I did it for like $500, and I had to take the hamburger because I didn't want to spend any of my winnings on getting like a taxi to the because like I lived in Brooklyn, so I had to. It was like in like, oh my God, I can't remember, like whatever. It was not in Brooklyn, and so like I had. You were
riding the train,
so I rode the subway, and my roommate at the
with
time
your giant
was like,
hamburger costume.
Do you want me to come with you? And I was thinking she was gonna help me, and I was like, that would be so great. And instead of helping me, she just took pictures of me holding the costume on the subway.
Do you want me to come with you to document your shame? Is why she came.
I do have.
What a good roommate.
I do have those pictures.
Okay, we need those too. We're gonna have to get those pics too.
I know.
Snow White and
I was like, oh, that would
you
be so
holding
nice.
your giant hamburger costume.
I was carrying it over on my head because like
you didn't want it to get messed up.
Yeah, I didn't know how else to carry it. Like my arms,
I don't know how you would carry it.
My arms did not fit around it.
Oh my God. So you were balancing it on your head.
Yeah, I'm just holding it on my head.
Did you have like a trash bag or anything on it? It's just out. Oh my God, amazing.
Just out.
Oh my God.
It didn't fit in a trash bag.
Wow.
I
can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see these pictures. I need to see the scale of this costume.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know you could do that. Can you make a hamburger costume for my kid?
Maybe. You know what? You always say yes.
Right.
You always want to say yes.
Okay.
It would probably be much easier than a hamburger costume for
an adult.
A large adult. Oh my gosh. It was so, and then I remember when I got there to give this costume to this lady, she didn't know what she wanted. She just knew she needed to be a giant hamburger. And it was like, they gave me like the wrong measurements of the guy. So he was actually he actually gave them measurements that said he was taller and he was shorter. He was like 5 inches, 4 inches shorter. So like the cheese cut out, because it went like over the front, and the cheese cut out kind of touched the ground. And I was like, you said you were this tall. Like, oh my God. And I had to like fold the cheese back, and it just fucked everything up. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Did the play ever
Yeah, I guess it's right here.
Okay.
I didn't see the play.
Yeah. Too
They
bad.
asked if I
Too bad you
wanted-
didn't see
They
it.
asked if I wanted tickets, and I said no.
You were like, I'm good.
I was like, I'm not
Because I
coming.
can't possibly listen to Gilbert Gottfried talk for an hour and a half. That's not, I can't.
I can't.
Not even for free.
Hey, his voice doesn't bother me that much. I just don't.
What?
I just
Brittany,
didn't-
that's insane.
Isn't it?
He has the worst
I
voice.
don't care about it.
We have more shit to say about LinkedIn. We actually
Yes.
have a lot of shit to say about LinkedIn.
This won't
So
be the.
buckle
This
up.
won't be the last time. This won't be the last time your LinkedIn linked out's talking about LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
No. So we've been like compiling basically anecdotally our own between the two of us and then
hard-hitting
talking to other
journalism.
people. Yeah. Evidence of how LinkedIn is not real. It's just not. And today I had an interview, but I started talking to this company, the person who's in charge of hiring for this role. I started talking to him a couple weeks ago, and even as we were talking, I think I'm going to get this job for what it's worth. I hate to sit here and jinx it because I probably now I won't because I've said that.
You're gonna get it.
But it's for like a freelance type of work. So that's like, I feel a little more confident saying I think I'm going to get this job. But even after we talked, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it, he was like, oh yeah, we need to post about this on LinkedIn. And so it was like interesting to me because in light of everything we've been talking about and thinking about and stuff, it's like they have already started the process of talking to people and interviewing people and then are going to post about it on LinkedIn. And it's like,
After.
yeah. And it's kind of like, it makes it like, to me, from the point of view of the employer, the reason they're doing that is just like optics, basically.
Right. And like that's
It's just to be like, we were hiring, but even though we kind of already know who we're going to hire, but we're still going to post about it and get, see who applies, I guess. So it's interesting because it's like, I think how many employers are doing that exact same thing. Like they already have gone down the road of interviewing people and stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah. And then we're just going to post, like, it's kind of a throwaway thing almost.
right. So when people say, when you get the automated response from LinkedIn saying we're moving forward with other candidates, that maybe doesn't even necessarily mean that they don't like your shit. That maybe just means that they already started interviewing people before they even put anything on LinkedIn.
Most likely they did.
They already chose who they wanted to hire.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go through the effort and time of like, vetting another
Interviewing a
person
bunch of more people. Yeah.
that like they just found off the street. It's like
finding someone off the street. That's really what LinkedIn is like.
really
It's like the
is.
street.
It's
It's
the
like you throw
street.
your resume out on the street and then somebody sweeps it up in a big garbage can. And then someone's like, we're not going to go through this garbage can full of resumes, but thanks anyways. 'Cause
Thanks anyway.
we already
Screw
had
you.
somebody that we were going to hire. So, but thanks for throwing your resume in the garbage can for us. Like, that's what you're doing. The metaphorical garbage can of LinkedIn.
It reminds me like when I moved to New York and tried to get bar jobs and how they would like throw my resume in the trash can because I didn't have bar experience in New York City.
Yeah.
For 5 years. And then you
just start lying.
You start lying.
Yeah.
And then I remember when people would bring in their resume to us and then we would throw it in the trash because they didn't have 5 years of New York. You need like 5 years of New York bar experience
working
to get a job.
I know.
And I'm like, where do you start?
I was a complete Nepo baby at my first job in New York because it was just because my brother owns bars there and he had one of his friends also owned a bar and he was like, you can work there. And I started working there. Like I got like the Monday happy hour shift, mind you, which was the most depressing fucking shit because there were people there, but they were hardcore alcoholics.
Gets your foot in the door though.
But it did. It got my foot in the door. And then I was able to work at other places that were better because could say that
your brother owns bars in New York.
Yeah, my brother owns bars in New York. That's what he actually made the transition from working in advertising to doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Now, like a long time ago, like 15 or 20 years ago, almost. I'm
Does
thinking
he
it was
still
like
own
beginning of
bars in New
2000.
York?
No, like 15 years ago. Yeah, he owns a lot. They've become like a kind of a chain now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What is it?
Shout out to Barcade.
Oh, Barcade.
Yeah.
But
Shout out
is
to
that
Barcade.
everywhere?
They have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 locations in New York.
In Brooklyn.
So they have one in Brooklyn. They have one on like the like Alphabet City
That's
kind
so
of. They have one
cool.
in Chelsea. They have
I've never
one
been
in
to
Jersey
that.
City. They have one in
Oh, you know what? I went to that Jersey City
Philadelphia
one once.
in like Fishtown.
Wait, do they have one in LA or is that
They
different?
they do
in
actually.
Highland Park.
I don't know like where it is, but they do have one in LA.
That's why I think it's by where I used to live in Highland Park.
Yeah.
I lived by both of your brother's bars in both of the cities that I lived in.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So he was like a graphic designer he actually went to a portfolio center in like the 90s.
If I move back to LA, can your brother give me a job at Barcade?
I want
in
to
Highland Park.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes, although I
my
have
God.
no reason to say that. But yes, we can definitely make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
If that's what you really wanted,
get
I think
outta
we could
here.
make that happen.
I might get out of Atlanta. I need
Okay. I keep trying to tell him to open one here
Oh yeah, maybe you
on
should.
like the
And
belt
then That's
line
where we could
because
work.
I think it would mint money.
Oh my God.
Right? Like on the
Yes.
belt line, people would eat that shit up.
They would love it.
I know.
They have.
I've been trying to get him to do it for a long time. Maybe he'll listen to this and be like, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, Sydney's
It's a big
brother,
investment.
You better fucking listen to this.
He will. He will.
He will.
He's supportive.
He's supportive.
He is. He is. But yeah, no. I mean, it's just even like the most job, like
I would
a
like
thing
to
like
invest. I would like to invest.
they'll take your
Sydney's
money.
Brother.
They'll take your
They'll
money.
Take my money.
Yeah.
How much money do I need to give him? I have some equity.
Okay. We'll talk offline.
I'm just looking for new.
You know, I
options.
don't have any skin in the game.
We're pivoting.
For Barcade myself, so I can say whatever I want. But yeah, my parents are investors, obviously.
Oh my God, that's so awesome! Those are great bars. Hey, maybe Barcade, you can sponsor us. We're promoting your.
Yeah, if you are in anywhere in like the New England area, because they have one in Connecticut now too, and I actually don't know where it is. There's like 8 locations. I'm forgetting, but yeah, I keep telling him to.
Where was the first one?
The first one was in
Brooklyn?
Williamsburg.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the first one. The flagship.
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's across
called-
from that shitty diner, which I
Yeah,
can't remember.
Kellogg's.
Yeah, Kellogg's. Yeah,
It
it's
was
like right
called,
across the street. From
It was probably called East Williamsburg when they. That was actually probably
yeah,
Bushwick when they opened, kind of.
yeah,
Because they didn't.
that was like on the very fringes of
Yeah.
Williamsburg for sure.
Oh my God.
That was
so
like the
crazy.
early
I remember-
2000s.
I remember that place.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
but yeah,
Over by the Metropolitan. That
Yeah.
Gay bar. I
Yeah.
love that gay bar.
Yeah,
Alligator
yeah.
Lounge is not there anymore. I don't know.
there's a Subway stop right there too. That's Metropolitan stop
Oh my
off the L.
gosh.
If you guys,
You
anyone
guys
in
go,
New York,
Go to Barcade. Help Sydney's brother. He's really struggling
yeah, he's fine.
with his bars.
He's obviously not
JK,
struggling.
JK. Well,
He's super cool, but yeah, that was a long way of saying like even getting a job in the service industry is hard now because like it was always hard in New York, I think, but it's probably hard here too. Like places want you to have this equivalent experience of however many years working in whatever type of place. Like if you don't have that kind of equivalent experience, you're probably going to get passed over for those jobs too.
well, I mean, I was thinking about going back into bartending, and
Don't do it.
I
or do whatever.
I mean, I
Or do.
just haven't.
I'll support you. I'll come and drink.
I haven't done it in like 8 years. Like, I haven't bartended since like 2016.
You could just say you've been doing private parties.
private parties.
Boom.
Good idea.
Done.
Done.
Sorted. AKA I pour drinks at my house and
Private parties.
Private
I'm
parties.
doing it. I'm doing one right now.
so therefore I'm bartending.
I'm bartending.
Most of my bartending was just opening beers, by the
Yeah.
way, and pouring shots. And there wasn't
same.
very much finesse to it.
No,
I wasn't
like,
making like
I'm not a mixologist.
craft cocktails. Yeah,
I'm a bartender.
just
okay?
pour in beers.
pouring beers. I'm not gonna muddle anything.
That's where I draw the line.
That's where I'm not muddling. Okay, I'm not gonna muddle in anybody's business.
Nice.
Nice puns. Got to get them in there. We got to get some of our creative copywriting energy out somehow.
Are you a big pun gal? You can go a long way on puns in the copywriting.
I know, and remember how
field.
they told us that
Not to do it in school, but they were wrong.
People love
People absolutely love it. Clients eat that shit up.
Eat it up.
Yum.
Every
they
day
love
of the
it.
week. They love it. They're like, give me the puns. Give me more puns.
If there's not puns, we don't want it.
We don't want it. No puns. Go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like it. People, I mean,
don't ever let anyone tell you that. Yeah, if you're starting out as a copywriter and people are like, don't do puns, do puns, do them. You will go far and fast.
People love it.
You will rise right to the top.
That's clever. You think your clients are going to turn down a good pun? They will not.
They will never.
They will never. They'll be like,
I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
If anyone's ever seen it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Because I've never seen it.
Over the past year, I would say, because even when I still was working, I would get messages from recruiters. So I would say, like, just thinking back on the past year and since then too, I get messages, and I'm sure you do too, a lot of times from recruiters. And then I was like, when I was starting to look again, I was taking all of those calls and I was like setting up time to talk to them and like send them my resume and talk about all my experience and blah, blah, what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time doing that. Crickets. I haven't heard not a fucking peep from any of them since then. It was just a huge waste of time. Like, why? Like, for what though? Like, why are you? I don't know. It was just like, I guess they just like collect people and collect resumes and then do whatever, nothing with them.
Like, I don't even know like how they have jobs right now.
Well, a lot of them don't.
Right. That's probably why. They're probably in the same boat as us. But like, they've always been flaky. Like, even, you know, like not during this like terrible time for the industry or for like getting jobs. We are in a recession, but like, I've never really had. Like,
are we in a recession?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like it.
It does seem like it.
I mean, I kind of think we are.
Because in 2020 there was definitely a recession, right? But then it like then we came out of it. Are we in a recession again? Let me know, because I don't know.
Let us know.
I could Google that, but I feel like it's too complicated to Google. Really, I'm gonna get too many conflicting answers.
Are we in a recession? I kind of feel like we are, but also like I know so many people like that. I was reading Reddit pages upon pages on like, it's not that hard to get a job, it's impossible Reddit. And like, it's so, there's so many people that don't have jobs right now. And that's kind of what makes me
Google says no, the US is not in a recession.
It seems like we are. Well, Google, I trust Google.
And it says the unemployment rate is relatively low. It's 4.3%.
Well, that's
apparently
insane because.
But that's also
I've been looking
I learned
at pages
the most
and pages of people
that has a lot to do with people reporting too.
Right.
What they're.
That's true.
And so this is so kind of interesting to me because have you ever heard of? I'm sure this is unrelated, but I'm gonna bring it back. But have you ever heard of blue zones? Like so this is like this thing that's been like in the pop culture for like, I don't know, 10 plus years, I guess. They're called blue zones. They're supposedly like these areas of the world where people live like significantly like longer. Okay. And like Sardinia or something is like one of them, like Okinawa is like one of them or something. Like they have like this, they've always, so people have like studied this. They're like, why do people like live so much longer there? And they're like, oh, it's because of like what they eat or like their quality of life. They walk a lot and stuff and blah, 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 all this stuff. Okay. Just recently came out that blue zones are not real. And the reason why people thought people were living longer in those places is because people weren't reporting. So the families of people whose like elders, you know, I don't know, grandparents, parents and stuff passed away, they didn't report that they passed away to collect their like pension. I'm dead serious.
Whoa.
So they're not like, there's not places where people are living longer. It's just places where people were like not reporting that they were dead so that they could keep collecting their pension checks after they were dead.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that so crazy? But also like the most, to me, it was so funny. Because it was like people are like obsessed. They're like, oh, what do they eat? They're like, we're just trying to like replicate like that way of life so that we can like live longer and stuff. And it's like, no, they're dead. They just didn't they didn't report that they were dead because they wanted to keep collecting their pension. So,
but like
fucking hilarious.
That's a good point. Like people, not everybody's reporting their unemployment.
Yeah.
When you're like, I was on unemployment for like
right. It's
2
I think
months
is that how
months.
they calculate it? Is if you're actually receiving unemployment or something?
Like, it ran out. And so I can't get it anymore. It's over. It's done. So I'm not like, so who's to say
would
I'm
know
unemployed?
that you're unemployed or not?
Who would say that?
Yeah.
Like, who would know that? I mean,
And I don't think a lot of people get unemployment too because they're not eligible for it.
Right.
Like not only does it like run out, but also you're like not eligible for it. Like if you, I don't know, there's like certain circumstances and stuff where, if you got like, I guess if you get laid off or something, then you're eligible for it. But it has to be like under certain circumstances still, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I got it. I got my unemployment after working at a place for 3 years was like only like $11,000. So it lasted like, California gives like $400 a week. So it lasted like however fucking long that is.
Yeah.
And it's gone. And you can't appeal it. It doesn't matter. They don't get back to you. I'm like appealing. I'm like I appealed it like 3 times and they're just like, sorry, you're not eligible. And I'm like, so what do people do?
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a baby. Like, do you guys know this? I don't know.
Yeah, she's unemployed too.
My baby. Yeah,
Can
my
she
baby
get unemployment?
is unemployed. She has been looking for
her whole
16 months.
She's been looking for a job.
She had that one shot at a commercial and
she blew it.
She blew it. And now she'll never have a job.
She'll never work in this industry.
She's aging out of being the baby in the Judd Apatow movies. She's already, and nobody likes a white baby.
Yeah.
It's over.
No.
Anyway, well, on that note,
Shit.
on that note, we'll say thank you for tuning in if you've tuned in, and we're gonna keep investigative journaling this LinkedIn because we really do think it's a scam, and we're gonna collect more evidence, and we're gonna tell you more about the millions of job interviews we go on and all the recruiters that ghost us. And have a good week. I hope the subject line of your email is "My week was fantastic. Thanks for asking." Have a good night.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please give us a 5-star review. Email us at linkedoutpod@gmail.com and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at linkedoutpod. Your support means everything, and we fucking love you. Mwah. Bye, bestie.